The moment the signal vanished, the Black Sea swallowed one of America's most expensive flying machines, and the world realized that something had fundamentally changed in the invisible war of electronics. What happened above the waters near the Crimean Bridge was not a routine incident. It was not an accident, not a technical malfunction, and not a minor diplomatic misunderstanding. According to Russian military sources, an American RQ-4 Global Hawk strategic reconnaissance drone was deliberately neutralized. Not with missiles or fighter jets, but with electronic warfare systems powerful enough to turn cutting-edge technology into falling scrap metal. If confirmed, the incident marks a turning point in how modern conflicts are fought and how far Moscow is willing to go. To understand why this event sent shockwaves through military circles, one must first understand what the Global Hawk represents. The RQ-4 Global Hawk is not a small tactical drone. It is a massive, strategic, reconnaissance aircraft operated by the United States Air Force. With a wingspan of nearly 40 meters, comparable to a passenger jet, and a length of 14.5 meters, it looks more like an airplane than an unmanned vehicle. Weighing approximately 15 tons, it is among the largest drones ever built. Each unit costs more than $130 million, not including the classified equipment on board. It can fly at altitudes of up to 20 kilometers, higher than most fighter jets, placing it beyond the reach of many air defense systems. Its range exceeds 14,000 kilometers, and it can remain airborne for up to 32 hours without interruption. This makes it an ideal platform for long-duration surveillance missions. The Global Hawk carries some of the most advanced reconnaissance technology in the world. Synthetic aperture radar allows it to see through clouds and darkness. Electro-optical and infrared sensors provide detailed imagery in any weather, day or night. From 20 kilometers above the Earth, it can identify objects just tens of centimeters in size. For American intelligence, it designs us and sends communications. It is a flying spy satellite, able to transmit data in real time to command centers and allied forces. For years, Global Hawk drones have been a common sight over international airspace near Russia's borders, particularly in the Black Sea region. They typically take off from bases in Europe or the Mediterranean and patrol for hours, collecting intelligence on Russian military installations in Crimea and along the southern coastline. Their routes are well known to Russian air defense forces, who track them carefully. One site of particular interest to U.S. intelligence is the Crimean Bridge. This strategic infrastructure connects Crimea with mainland Russia and is vital for military logistics. Western intelligence analysts consider it a key target in any potential strike scenario involving Ukrainian forces. According to Russian officials, Global Hawk drones routinely collect detailed data on the bridge, high-resolution imagery, radar scans, three-dimensional models of its structure, and continuous monitoring of traffic flow. Military convoys, supply trucks, and equipment transfers across the bridge are closely observed. Russian sources claim this intelligence is shared with Ukraine, where it is used to plan attacks. Cruise missiles and drones allegedly rely on American-collected data for targeting. Officially, Washington maintains it is not directly involved in the conflict, but its intelligence support plays a crucial role in Ukrainian operations. For years, Moscow tolerated these flights. Russian authorities issued diplomatic protests and warnings through official channels, insisting that reconnaissance flights so close to Russian territory were unacceptable. They argued that gathering intelligence for strikes made the United States a de facto participant in hostilities, but Washington continued operations, apparently confident that Russia would not dare to shoot down an American drone for fear of escalation. According to Russian analysts, this confidence proved misplaced. Sources claim that President Vladimir Putin and Defense Minister Andrei Belousov made a decisive shift in policy. Words were no longer enough. A new doctrine was introduced. Any foreign drone collecting intelligence for potential attacks on Russian territory would be destroyed without warning. No more diplomatic notes. No more restrained protests. Only action. The incident near the Crimean Bridge was reportedly the first practical application of this doctrine. Unlike previous confrontations, Russia did not launch a missile. Instead, it deployed electronic warfare systems, known in Russian as radio-electronic combat, or REB. These systems are designed to suppress, jam, or disable enemy electronics. Powerful transmitters emit interference on the frequencies used by hostile equipment. Communication links collapse. Navigation systems fail. Sensors go blind. Russia has invested heavily in electronic warfare and is considered by many experts to be among the global leaders in this field. Systems such as Krasukha and Moscow-1 are capable of suppressing satellite communications, GPS signals, and radar. They can create zones where enemy electronics simply stop working. The global hawk is critically dependent on electronic systems. It relies on satellite communication to transmit data and receive commands. GPS guides its navigation. Onboard radar and sensors conduct reconnaissance. Autopilot systems control flight. All of these components are vulnerable to powerful electronic interference. According to Russian accounts, electronic warfare units detected the approaching drone near the Crimean Bridge. They identified its operating frequencies and activated jamming transmitters. Satellite communication was cut, isolating the drone from its operators. Without a link to ground control, the aircraft switched to autonomous mode, attempting to return to base using pre-programmed routes and GPS guidance. But GPS signals were also suppressed. The drone lost its coordinates. It no longer knew where it was or where it was going. Automatic systems tried to stabilize flight, but without navigation data, control became impossible. The aircraft began to lose altitude and descend uncontrollably. Operators in the United States reportedly saw the signal drop but could do nothing. Control was gone. Communication severed. Moments later, the global hawk crashed into the Black Sea at high speed, not far from the Crimean Bridge. The impact destroyed its structure. Debris sank to the seabed. In a matter of seconds, more than $130 million worth of technology vanished beneath the waves. Russian naval units were dispatched to the crash site. Officials stated that the wreckage had intelligence value. American electronics could be studied, components dismantled, and vulnerabilities identified. For Moscow, the incident offered not only a tactical victory but also an intelligence opportunity. In Washington, the reaction was reportedly one of shock. According to Russian commentators, U.S. officials did not expect Moscow to actually neutralize a global hawk. They had counted on endless Russian restraint. Instead, they were confronted with decisive action that destroyed one of their most expensive unmanned platforms. The Pentagon convened emergency meetings to assess the fallout. The loss was not only financial, it demonstrated in Moscow's narrative the vulnerability of American equipment to Russian electronic warfare. It sent a message. Spying near Russian shores would no longer go unpunished. Russian officials described it as the end of provocations. The new reality, they say, is clear. Russia will no longer tolerate reconnaissance flights near its strategic assets. Any drone, aircraft, or vessel collecting intelligence for potential strikes will be neutralized. Putin and Belousov have moved from warnings to direct action, changing the doctrine of force application. According to this view, it is not a one-time incident, it is a policy shift. The area around Crimea and other strategic locations is now effectively closed to Western intelligence operations. Electronic warfare systems are on constant alert. Orders have been issued. For the United States, this creates a dilemma. The intelligence collected by drones, like the Global Hawk, is crucial for Ukraine. Without it, Kyiv has less information about Russian positions, logistics, and infrastructure. Planning attacks becomes more difficult. Accuracy drops. Ukrainian officials reportedly urge Washington to continue reconnaissance flights. President Volodymyr Zelensky needs intelligence to support operations against Russian infrastructure, but the cost is high. Losing drones priced at over $130 million each is an expensive form of assistance. European allies are also reconsidering their actions. British and French reconnaissance aircraft regularly patrol near Russian borders. Now they see the risk. Russia has demonstrated a willingness to neutralize Western hardware without ceremony. The Global Hawk incident, in Russian interpretation, proves the effectiveness of its electronic warfare systems. Western militaries long believed their electronics were protected against interference. The crash challenges that assumption. If Russian systems can suppress even the most advanced American equipment, the balance of power in electronic warfare shifts. The United States maintains technological superiority in many areas, but in electronic warfare, Russian analysts claim Moscow is equal or even ahead. The ability to shut down American electronics could render many Western weapon systems ineffective. NATO strategists are reportedly concerned. If a global hawk cannot withstand jamming, what about fighter jets, bombers, or cruise missiles? Modern weapons depend on electronics. Navigation, targeting, communication, all are digital. If Russia can paralyze these systems, it gains a powerful asymmetric advantage. Developing protection against Russian electronic warfare will take years. It requires understanding how these systems work, designing countermeasures, and upgrading existing equipment. The cost in time and money would be enormous. Until then, Western hardware remains vulnerable. Publicly, U.S. officials have tried to downplay the incident. They state the drone fell due to technical reasons and deny that Russia shot it down. They avoid acknowledging vulnerability to Russian jamming. For Washington, the image of technological dominance is at stake. But Russian commentators argue the facts speak for themselves. The drone was flying normally, approached the Crimean Bridge, suddenly lost communication, and crashed, precisely within the operating zone of Russian electronic warfare systems. They insist coincidence is impossible. It was a targeted neutralization. While Moscow has not issued a formal public admission, military sources have reportedly confirmed the operation. The message is unmistakable. If you spy near our shores, you will lose your equipment. The Crimean Bridge, they emphasize, is now protected not only by physical defenses but by electronic shields. Russian systems create a zone where hostile electronics stop functioning, drones fall. Missiles with electronic guidance miss their targets. Communication links are jammed. Ukrainian attempts to strike the bridge become increasingly ineffective. Without accurate intelligence from American drones, attacks are essentially blind. Without working GPS, missiles and drones lose precision. Electronic warfare turns high-precision weapons into uncontrolled metal. Washington now faces two bad options: continue flights and lose expensive equipment, or stop and deprive Ukraine of critical intelligence. Neither choice is attractive. According to Russian analysts, Moscow has forced the United States into a strategic corner. The Global Hawk incident is presented as a warning to everyone considering reconnaissance near Russian borders. Next, they say, could be manned aircraft, such as the P-8 Poseidon or RC-135 Rivet Joint, which regularly patrol Russian airspace. Now, the risk is not just losing hardware, but human lives. The transition from warnings to action marks a new era in Russian military policy. Moscow claims it has exhausted its patience. Diplomatic notes are over. Real action has begun to protect national interests. The downed Global Hawk, they say, is the first, but not the last. Supporters of this view invite public debate. Did Russia have the right to neutralize an American reconnaissance drone? Or does this represent a dangerous escalation? Can electronic warfare truly paralyze Western technology, or is this an exaggeration? And most importantly, will the United States dare to continue reconnaissance flights after losing a drone worth more than $100 million? These questions now dominate discussions among analysts and the public alike. Observers agree on one thing: we are witnessing a moment when patience ends and words are replaced by actions. Electronic warfare has proven its ability to turn the world's most expensive drones into falling metal. The lesson, according to Russian commentators, is simple. In modern war, victory does not belong to the side with the most expensive equipment, but to the side capable of turning that equipment off with a single button. And they claim Russia has just demonstrated this capability by sending an American Global Hawk to the bottom of the Black Sea without firing a single shot. Whether the world accepts this version of events or not, the incident has already reshaped the strategic landscape. Invisible waves of electronic interference have become as powerful as missiles. The battlefield is no longer only physical, it is digital, silent, and unforgiving. And somewhere beneath the dark waters of the Black Sea, fragments of a fallen drone now lie as evidence of how modern warfare is evolving. Where signals matter more than steel, and where control of the electromagnetic spectrum can decide the fate of multi-million-dollar machines in seconds.